Hi, welcome back to my channel, or welcome if it's your first time here. I'm Lindsay, and yes, this is a little bit of a different setting. I'm trying new setups for the next few videos. I'm also going to be traveling quite a bit this month, so it's going to be chaotic when it comes to my videos this month. But I am doing my December reading wrap-up as promised. Hopefully I get it up on time. But before I start traveling, we'll see what happens with this. I read 2 books, I DNF'd an audiobook, and I started another book that I am still in the middle of because of the chaos of this month, but I think it's going to make my January reading wrap-up better. So let me just get into my reviews, my synopsis, and yeah. So I talked about already that I read in December Hamnet. So Hamnet is a historical fiction. It is a fictitious version of Shakespeare's early life and a lot about his romance with, in this story, Agnes. And it does kind of center around that, but it also centers around Shakespeare's son, Hamnet, who did die as a child, and it is who he used as inspiration for his play Hamlet. While it is about Shakespeare's family and you do get his point of view at times, it really centers around Agnes and Hamnet and their relationship. It is a very poignant story about grief and the special love between a mother and a child. It is all about kind of pestilence invading this family home and the way in which it really affects them. I was enthralled from the beginning, and in some aspects it did kind of like keep me on my toes, the way it would be like, and so is gonna look back on this and regret this, and I had to be like, well, I want to know why, even though it is set up in a way that you already know what's gonna happen, but you still kind of want to see how it all plays out. It was definitely a gripping, highly emotional story. I think it was very beautifully written. There were a few times, very minuscule, the amount of times that I didn't really vibe with the prose, but very few. For the most part, I did love the prose, and I found it to be a very beautiful, though very hard story to consume. I did cry multiple times, and I really, really loved it. It stuck with me. I've not seen the film yet, because as of filming this, it is not out in the UK, but I am definitely going to see the film when it is out here. Yeah, I don't really have the criticisms other than the few times where I didn't really love the prose, but I did really like the prose for the most part. I like the way that, I don't know, I think it was like flowery, but not, sometimes I think the flowery writing is what I didn't quite vibe with, but for the most part it wasn't overly flowery. It wasn't like it was trying too hard or anything like that. It was, yeah, I don't really have criticisms because I greatly enjoyed the story. It was definitely one of my top reads of 2025, and I think that other than that, I just want to say, if you do plan on reading it, definitely check the content warnings. As I already said, there is a child death in it, and it can be quite difficult to read emotionally, and just has some darker topics as well. So check that out, but highly recommend it regardless. I also don't know why I had the book in front of me and I just fully did not pick up Hamnet. Here's Hamnet. So after that is Cinderella is Dead. It takes place in the fictional world in which Cinderella took place, but 200 years after Cinderella's story, and her story is like the Bible for the people in Lily. It is this world where women, when they're still girls, 16, they get invited to a ball. It happens every year where a ton of men come, noble men. Usually there are some peasants, and they all pick a wife from this group of women. If you don't get picked, you only have 3 chances, 3 years, 3 balls. You have to be picked by the time you're 18. It's ridiculous. It centers around Sophia, who is a queer woman. I'm editing right now, and I actually want to amend that and say that she's a queer girl. She's literally 16 years old. Who does not agree with the way that women are treated in the society, or the way that it is a very heteronormative society and very patriarchal. And so she feels deep down a rebellion against this, and she really does not want to go to this ball, but she is 16 and it is time for her to go to this ball. So she grew up hearing the story of Cinderella, hearing how things are supposed to go, how Cinderella had this amazing night and how Prince Charming was this amazing prince and all these things, yada yada yada. But it's everything as it seems. So it's a tyrannical world that's classist, incredibly sexist, homophobic, and it also deals with racism, beauty standards, racism and beauty standards, and like all different types of just prejudices, and it is very, you know, very bigoted, and it comes with, like I said, it's very patriarchal as well. So I think politically, really important read. Highly recommended. It is YA. It's an easier read in that sense, but it does deal with a lot politically. I really enjoyed it. I, you know, kind of agree with the messaging as someone who is way more left. And yeah, I think especially right now, especially everything going on in the world, especially everything going on in the United States, definitely I recommend this book. I recommend diversifying your bookshelf, and as this is a book that I think could really help you with that. And yeah, it's something that I think will really resonate. And I just want to say too, with everything going on in the States, I understand wanting to read books to escape, but reading is always political, something to keep in mind. If you want me to keep politics out of this channel, it's just not gonna happen, because I think reading is inherently political, and just also because of who I am as a person. I also just watched a video of Mark Ruffalo talking about what's been happening with ICE lately, and I highly recommend if you look that up, because he's always been very politically outspoken, and I think it's important. Something like that is inspiring, something like this book as well, to use platforms, no matter how big or small, to talk about these issues, to bring them to light. So that's not something I'm ever going to shy away from. And yeah, I wanted to say that while reviewing this book. I love this book. I highly recommend this book. If you're looking for YA, it is fantasy, there is magic involved, but it is also very politically driven. Next, I can't say much about this book, and my light just went out, but I have started Gideon the Ninth, and so I can't say much because I've not finished it, and I'm going to finish it in January. It is a book about necromancers, lesbians. I've found it to be like very interesting and very like, it has a very specific humor. I saw a lot of people talk about this. It very much pulls you in. It has, you know, politics, sword play is what it says on the back. I was like, I don't know what word to use for that, so thank you to the back of this book. And it's just, I think, very entertaining so far, but I can't say too much. I can't really give a review until I finish it. The last I DNF'd was the Starless Sea. I was listening to the audiobook version of it, and that could be why I DNF'd. I've not been really good at listening to audiobooks historically, unless I also have the book in front of me. But I don't know, I just wasn't really getting into it. At first I was. I did start it when I think I was ill, because I was ill in December. And I started it then, found some interest in the beginning of it then, but then it didn't hold my interest. It's like fantasy, and it pulls you in with like kind of like this piratey story, but then it goes to like this guy in a more modern setting in academia, and like slowly unveiling fantasy elements that he didn't know existed, which I do kind of like, the like secret fantasy world and that kind of stuff, but this one wasn't really doing it for me. And again, it could be the audiobook format, so maybe I'll go back to the, you know, physical or ebook format of this to try it out from the library, because I was, you know, listening to it on BorrowBox. But at the same time, I'm listening to an audiobook now on BorrowBox that I am doing a better job at paying attention to. I can't recall the name. I know it's by Marissa Meyer, but it is like a YA romance, so it's not it's not as in-depth with the world building as something like the Starless Sea would be. But I just think, like, I don't know, it wasn't really interesting me. I don't know if I would enjoy the book, but I am willing to give it a chance. But yeah, that's a shorter little December reading wrap up. I wish I had more to say, but I really enjoyed the books that I did finish, even though it was only 2. Highly recommend these books. So great reading month for that. Great way to end the year reading, because I didn't have the best reading year. So I was really happy to wrap it up like that, and really excited to be reading Gideon the Ninth, and I have that audiobook. And soon, probably by the time I post this, no, maybe because I plan on posting this like Friday, what is it, like the 9th? I don't know. Hopefully I posted it then. But I don't know if, don't remember what I was saying. Oh, I do have a couple books on hold, and I do have an Emily Henry book on hold that the people leaving on vacation, I put it on hold on BorrowBox because I want to read it before I watch the film. And the film is coming out soon. I do see people talking about that coming out soon. That is all I have. And of course, while I was wrapping up, my battery died. So read this book and go see the film. I'll talk about this book more in January. Yeah, good reading month. Highly recommend. If you like this, like and subscribe, and I will see you soon. Bye.